Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in this first pose, we are going to kind of do like a very dynamic action pose. So with that, let's go ahead and first swap out the hand because we want to basically make it look like all of the energy is going into the fist, and then the other hand is going to kind of, release to put all that energy into the other side. So he's going to be kind of getting into that pose. So let's go ahead and actually adjust the legs here, because we're going to literally have him like leaping in the air, similar to like what you would see the dragon punch from like Street Fighter, when they do those, when Ryu does like his special move where he's doing that uppercut. We want to have this Spider-Man kind of doing the same thing, but again, he'll have the extension of the extra limbs. Let's go ahead and try it. I'm going to use this other stand. This is a stand that doesn't come with the figure, so I'm just letting you guys know that, for those of you who are not familiar with the channel, I do use other stands to kind of help with the figure, as long as it can hold and it can go a little higher. So I kind of use it for that. So we're going to go ahead and extend our legs now. That's one of the things I really like about the legs, and that's different from the other Spider-Man figures that we've seen where they have extra limbs. Where these, you can actually adjust the individual legs as well as the joints. Like you can separate the joints on these legs, which really, I guess it extends the range of motion, and also the ideas you can come up with as far as these legs are concerned. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and use these two limbs that are kind of like extending past the Spider-Man's actual arm. So we're going to use two limbs to do the actual hit, and then the other two limbs will actually be the ones holding him up. Stand's kind of getting a little in the way a little bit, so that's why I kind of like, all right, let's just go ahead and adjust the figure, and then we'll adjust the stand, which sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to just get the figure in the pose and then worry about the stand later. But sometimes you'll need to use the stand first in order to get an understanding of what the stand is capable of, and also get an idea of what you're gonna do with your figure. So sometimes stand first, other times it's the figure first. It all depends upon what it is you're doing. So let's go ahead and put our second limb in, and I mean this is where the thing gets a little bit difficult. This is why you need to use the stand later on, because in reality, when you're trying to set these things up, the the legs just cannot hold the weight of the figure. So this is where you'll use a stand. And again, this is for like posing. If you want to do photography, you have to edit out the stand and whatnot. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a cool thing to where the two limbs are the extension of his legs, and then the other two limbs will be the extension of the one arm. So I think it's a cool little setup. So let's go ahead and let's add in our stand and see how everything comes together, which looks like it's looking pretty good. Looks like it's gonna hold up, and also it kind of looks pretty practical because again, it's just an extension, is lifting him up for that pose. But yeah, I think this ends up looking pretty good. So here is our final pose for that. Looking good. Our next pose, this is going to be kind of like a leaping pose. So he's going to be like leaping into action, but using the limbs to extend that jump, to give him that extra jump. So this one is actually kind of simple. You just have to put all of the limbs in one particular area to where they look like they're kind of bunched up. So I remove the fist, and we're going to give him the extra hand, and then we're kind of positioning him in the body like he's leaping forward. Sometimes you may have to put yourself in that kind of position so you can get an understanding of what he's going to look like. And usually when I do these kind of poses, instead of putting the stand behind him, I'll put the stand in front of him because that's where the majority of the weight is going to be. It is going to be leaning forward, so therefore make it a little bit difficult for the stand to hold him up if it was behind him. So in this instance, you would put it in front of him. And now let's go ahead and add our limbs so we can see where this is going to be. Again, this kind of thing might be a little easy to do simply because it's, you know, you're kind of bunching up all the legs in one clustered area. But again, you still need to be careful as far as where you place them, so they will look like, you know, they're kind of pushing off at different points. And this is if you watch our other episodes that we did with Zord Photography, he was kind of mentioning the same thing, how you look at a figure from a certain angle and it just doesn't look right. But when you adjust the angle of the camera, then you'll see how, okay, some of this stuff kind of makes sense. So as of right now, the way this thing looks, it may look like the limbs are, you know, kind of crossing over each other and whatnot. But when you actually look at them from a different angle, you'll see that they're kind of pushing from 4 separate points that actually have a little bit of distance from each other. So this is where things get a little tricky because the limbs are now adding that extra weight. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the stand and get that out of the way so I can go ahead and adjust the limbs, and then again go back to putting the stand there, which sometimes you have to do. Sometimes in the middle of posing, you'll see like, okay, let me adjust this and adjust this correctly before I place it back on the stand. So sometimes you'll have to do that. Now you see how there the 4 limbs all look like they're side by side, but when you look at them from another angle, you can see that some are higher, some are lower. Again, like he had the legs all at different points, and then he kind of pushed off. So because it's getting heavy, I had to adjust the stand to make it a little tighter so he can, you know, properly hold the figure, because he was getting a little heavy. But again, this is our end result. And as you can see, it looks kind of weird from one angle, but when you look at it head on, it looks like he's extending off, like he's pushed off and coming straight towards the camera. So it all depends upon the camera angle that you use. Our final pose is actually going to be a little simple. We're not going to do anything like really dynamic, because really the attention is going to be in the legs and not in the figure itself. So I remember seeing like one really cool pose where the limbs were kind of like armor in front of him. Like he didn't have to stand there and do anything because the limbs were kind of guarding or doing the guarding for him. I know there's a number of people that kind of do the other pose where he's, you know, the legs are actually holding him up, and you can do that in this figure. Personally, I just didn't really do too much with it, not because of the legs, because I will say the legs can definitely support the figure, and having all 4 limbs hold him up, and you do not need a stand. It is absolutely possible that you can do it. The only thing that I did not like about it is that you can't really bunch up the legs in this kind of suit. It's not only the material, it's also just the limbs of the body that was chosen to use for this. Maybe one day we'll actually get a true like Spider-Man figure that's 1/6 scale in size, but you can also extend that body and really get that true Spider-Man range of motion that you would see in other figures that have been done in the past. So in this particular one, you can't really do that too much, but this would be one, just a simple one where he's just guarding Spider-Man with all his limbs. So he's just standing there kind of calm, and the limbs are extended there. So it's a cool little setup. Very nice and simple, but again, focusing on the limbs where you can twist them and everything. So that's going to do it for right now. Thank you so much for tuning in to the channel. Stay tuned for more posing of our figures and other interviews, and we will catch you next time. Have a great day.